Hello, Dad. Welcome back. So you learned the first black belt superpower, focus. We know that energy flows where focus goes, and so we have to focus our focus. And we know that we are focused as fathers on doing the best for our kids. So today I want to teach you about the second black belt superpower, respect. And when I talk about the black belt superpower of respect for my students and for our children, I'm talking about two kinds of respect that we have to master, right? Respect for ourselves and respect for others. And of course, we need to master this thing for ourselves and model this thing for our kids. And we have to help our kids develop it for themselves. And when we talk about respect for others, we talk about the magical language of respect. In fact, we teach something called the 7 words of respect that I'll include at the end of this session. And the 7 words of respect are yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Please. Thank you. You're welcome. And we teach our students, and we should teach our kids about respect for others in the way of courtesy, and the way of kindness, and the way of forgiveness, and the way even of being able to de-escalate somebody else's bad mood or even someone else's aggression through the use of respect. But where I really want to spend most of the time today, because I think that it's such a critical thing and such a problem, honestly, in our society today, is in self-respect. Self-respect is one of these. It was one time seemed like a self-evident word, even, right? And when we think about it today, we know that many young people struggle in this area. There would not be so much depression and what we call low self-esteem and behaviors that reflect a total lack of self-respect. If it wasn't that this is just an area in which, as a society, we're a little lacking. So let's talk about, I want to start by talking about exactly what we mean when we talk about self-respect. I just wrote a blog on this. I'm going to share some of it with you. Today I want to talk about one of the most important black belt superpowers, respect. And we teach a lot about respecting others in my black belt leadership program. Children learn about respect for authority and learn the words of respect, like I just told you. But we also develop the most important respect of all, self-respect. Self-respect allows us to feel better, perform better, and just be better for ourselves and for those around us. And then what I do in the blog here is I break down the definition of self-respect, which is pride and confidence in oneself, a feeling that one is behaving with honor and dignity. What I wanted to do, because in the same way as I said that self-respect itself seems a little rare today, well, think about these definitions. The dictionary actually defines the word self-respect through pride and confidence and honor and dignity. Well, what do these things mean? Well, if we break down those definitions, pride means a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. Confidence means the feeling or belief that one can rely on something or something, firm trust. Honor means 1, high respect, great esteem, and or 2, adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. Dignity means the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. And then in the blog, I share that it was worth breaking down the definitions for 2 reasons. 1, if self-respect is the sum of these things, we should first understand what each means. And 2, they're not often used anymore. And when they are, they're not used in this way. Let's face it, we know that many of these terms have been appropriated for specific agendas that have nothing to do with the lofty ideals that the original definitions denote and connote. And listen, I will tell you further that because they're lofty ideals, many in society today just don't even aspire to have them. But we do. We do at my academy, and I know that you do for your kids. But let's go back and break down some of those things again and talk a little further on them. 1 is pride, a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements and those that we're associated with. Well, listen, let's talk on that a second. To me, as a father, for me as a student and a teacher, this tells me, number 1, to have pride in accomplishments, we have have to have accomplishments. So look, it's important that we don't fall into the trap that that an earlier generation did with our kids, right? And just, give participation trophies and tell them how great they are just for being. We tell them that we love them and that they are great in their own way, and that we love them unconditionally, right? But we also drive them and help them learn to drive themselves for accomplishment, and then to take pride in those accomplishments. There's a particular voice today that even tries to discourage that, as though setting worthy goals and accomplishing great things was not something to aspire to. So I believe the first step towards teaching self-respect in our kids is to teach them what pride is, that pride is acquired through their accomplishments, and that it not only is there nothing wrong, but that it is worthy to set and achieve great accomplishments, worthy goals. And then it said also others, right? So also there's the thing in there about the law of association. We know that we become like the 5 people that we hang out with most often. We know that we rise or fall very often to the crowd that we associate with. So it's also important that we help our kids know how to choose wisely when it comes to association, the people that they're going to hang out with. We want them to be around people that empower them and inspire them and educate and edify them, that lift them up, and to stay away from the energy vampires, right? Besides that, of course, the very, very obvious thing, we want them around people that are moving in the right direction and doing the right things, not people that are pulling them the wrong way, not other kids that are pulling the wrong way, and not adult sources that are telling them lies, right? Like, I think that in this area too, we have to be more vigilant than ever before. Confidence means the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, firm trust. I so love this definition. And confidence, by the way, is the 4th of the black belt superpowers. You'll hear more about it. Such an important one. But I love the definition being trust in someone or something. Because when we talk about confidence, we're especially talking about self-confidence. And this is one of the most important things that we can teach our kids. And how do we develop self-confidence? How do we develop trust in ourselves? By doing the things that we say that we're going to do. So it's important in raising up our kids that we teach them confidence first by modeling the fact that when we say we're going to do something, we do it, so that they have confidence in us. Second, in teaching them that if you want somebody else to have confidence in you, you have to do what you say you will do. And then third, of course, giving them exercises and challenges and ways to develop confidence in themselves, to know that they are trustworthy, and also giving them, counsel and correction when perhaps they're not being very trustworthy. It's a challenging thing, but I think it's so important that we teach our children to be trustworthy, and especially so they can trust themselves and develop confidence. The next is honor, which means high respect, great esteem, or adherence to what is right or to a conventional standard of conduct. Now, listen, this is, again, such a great one that is so rare now, right? Like, high respect, great esteem, adherence to what is, see how I said again, what is right. That it's your job more than any other to teach your kid what is right. And yes, listen, not everybody's definition of what is right is exactly the same. But I don't think that that's a reason to throw out the ideal. I believe that there is a relativism movement afoot in society today that wants to be like, hey, whatever works for you, just do it, right? If it feels good and those things. We know that's not right. We know there are universal truths. We know there are standards of right and wrong. And like I said, yours may not be exactly the same as mine, but whatever they are, don't you want to be the one to give it to your kids, right? So that would be So I would say that that is part of giving them self-respect, is raising them up with an understanding that there are things that are right, and that a part of self-respect is doing our best to live up to these things. And by the way, it of course does not mean that we don't sometimes fail. We all do, right? Aristotle uses the analogy of a target, right? And that, um, you know, we strive. Virtue is about striving to hit the center of the target every time. But, the very act of shooting at the target, is what makes us stronger and stronger and stronger and more virtuous. And then dignity, the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. And isn't that interesting? I think that just in that all of the sub definitions of self-respect are interdependent, and they're all just part of giving our kids this very, very worthy thing. Now, listen, a couple more sides I want to talk about self-respect. There's a part of self-respect is also how we talk to ourselves. Some of us, and I am using this in the universal term for adults, say things to ourselves that we would never say to anyone else, right? Like, you would not call other people, in most cases, some of the names that you call yourself, right? Like, and this is even more true of our kids, and especially as they're battling through the adolescent years, and especially in times like these. So listen, and by the way, times like these have been here before, right? We go through patterns, right? Times like these have come before, and they will come again. What I'm saying is that particularly when there's lots of turmoil in the world around our children, our adolescents, as they're growing, it's even more important that we teach them this thing, right? And it's important that they learn to talk to themselves in the right way, even if the world is talking to them in some crazy, crazy ways. And as I said, as I alluded to earlier, we know that kids are struggling with depression and mental illness in a way that they have not for many generations. I think that it was the last time that, for example, suicide was as high was during the Builder generation, the Great Depression and post, and during the World War II Great Depression years. And some of that stuff comes because of the lies our kids are being told. So we have to teach them to talk the truth to themselves, that they are worthy, they are able, and that they deserve all the things. And that, listen, the color of their skin has nothing to do with it, nor where they were born, nor when, nor what does is what they do, how they treat others, and what they do with the gift of life they've been given, right? And it's like they're kids and they're developing, so it's our job to teach them that. Another thing about self-respect is I believe that there has to be a correlation between what we say and what we do. So for young people to develop self-respect, they also have to learn respectful behaviors towards themselves and towards others. And I mean, in how they treat their body, in how they feed their body, in how they feed their mind, in boundaries and what they will allow in and what they will not. There are so many things, but the important thing is we have to teach them about the self-talk. We got to teach them about behaving in a way that will lead to self-respect, about maintaining boundaries that will lead to self-respect. Now, listen, I know that as I talked about these things, you are thinking about things, right? I'm not giving this specific, because it's up to you to bring your child up in, of course, in the morals and values of your household. I am simply saying that the Black Belt superpower of respect is respect for others and respect for self is definitely one of the most important ones that we instill in the youth if we're to see them as respectful adults, happy, healthy, and well-adjusted adults. So the other tool that I'm going to include here, so the 7 words of respect are going to be here, but I have another exercise, and it's for you to do a little thinking, because again, it's not my job to decide what are the things that you want to make sure you instill with your kids pertaining to respect. So in the exercise, you're going to begin with the end in mind and write some characteristics of the healthy, happy, respectful adult that you want your child to grow up to be. And then you're going to take it one step and say, okay, what things can I do today to teach or model this behavior to my kids? And then, of course, like all the rest, the actual practice happens real time with them. I hope it's been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next session.